pull your iPhones. I'm learning Dutch. um, I guess I'll just very quickly say a little bit about myself. I'm a writer. I also sometimes make sound things. I also organize events. One thing that's really important to me that also you'll see someone else from the film co-op next week at the next Black Soil event, or two Black Soil events from now. The next Black Soil event, I'm a part of a film co-op called Not Nowhere. It's based in London, and everybody who owns it is Black and POC and queer and all of that stuff. And we out here trying to control our own destinies and stuff like this. So, yes, yeah, right? You know what I'm saying? We're trying to. Okay. We have an amazing panel, and I want them all to introduce themselves. And maybe I think by way of introduction, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you're building in your community with hip hop as a tool. Yeah, you want to start us off? I'll give you my.
Hello, everybody. I'm Crystal Chanay. I'm 24 years old. I'm from Amsterdam. I rap. I make rap music, and I am a producer also. I'm also a sound engineer. I do sound designing, and I'm creating my own music label right now that's called Drillers Paradise. So I always keep Paradise with me. And Paradise stands for it's my own safe haven, my own little space where I retreat and just be myself and do everything that I want to do. And it stands for always following your dreams. And if it's hell, then create paradise. Like, that's what I do. As a sound engineer, right now, I'm building for other female artists to record them, because when I started, I was 15 years old, and I was with a lot of guys, and it was just always like, as they explained in the documentary, that it was like, sometimes they want to have sex with you most of the times or whatever. So I really like created like a backbone to just help myself and other female artists that I know, and then I just record them and um, help them create their own sound and also creating my own sound. So that's who I am.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Elejandro Martinez, better known as the father of the House of Vineyard, Ellie Vineyard. Um, okay. um, a little about me. I'm from a little island in the Caribbean called St. Martin. Please visit. Um, we are actually celebrating this year, as we speak, 10 years of Dutch ballroom scene. And therefore, also, you saw the film, The Place We Rule, which was produced and directed by Amy Todorovska, and which I wrote the script for. And in the film, they're all, well, two of them are literally my kids, and the rest are just kids from ballroom, from the Dutch ballroom scene. And so what we do is obviously we are ballroom parents, me next to Amber Vineyard, and we are the first house in the Netherlands, also celebrating 10 years next year. And basically what we do is we try to bring community to where it needs to be, and we use a lot of mediums here. For example, we used to use the Milkshake Festival as a platform, and they didn't know, but we use the milkshake. See, you gotta be smart. We use the milkshake platform as a way to get to the right people, because obviously that's not our crowd. No shade. And we actually used it to reach the right people, because out of the 20,000 people that are there, we at least know we would get to 5. So we still are, but we used to be very strategic in how we build community, of course, because we are not, especially ballroom in Europe, is not predominantly Black or of color. So we had to really get to our people, and try to get to the community, to the people that it's for, and also inviting everybody else to have that conversation. And I'm done.
Wow, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Good evening. My name is Jennifer Muntslag, also known as JNM, the Naked MC. I do a lot of talking on stage, off stage, around the stage, but also performing as either an MC or an actor. And I have always loved the spotlight, and the spotlight loves me. So we have a great collaboration going on. And at the same time, like I just like vibing, but at the same time, I do realize that as for the question, you know, what do I bring to it, or how do I use hip hop as a tool? I was like, I don't know, because I always try to just bring me, and me today can be somebody else tomorrow. But I do realize that the fact that I dare to be who I am out loud, a girl who is girlish today, but at the end of the day, maybe a little bit more in her masculine energy, that's okay. Very queer, that's okay. Just me, you know, vulnerable, but also strong, and reaching out and sharing, which is it's very fluid. And at first, I thought that was because I'm also like, I'm the naked MC, and people always ask, is she gonna come naked? And my naked always stand for born this way, not Gaga Jennifer, born this way. You know, this is what I came with today, and that's what I'm gonna celebrate, that's what I'm gonna share. But I also cry a lot when I'm happy, when I'm sad. And at first I thought it was my weakness, and then I realized it's a strength because I dare to be. And then I realized, okay, so if I come and I bring me, that is what I'm bringing in, and that is what I'm sharing, and there's my truth in it. So I think that, and me growing up with influences of hip hop and absolutely taking from that, I am always sharing that. So I think that's my contribution to it.
Thank you. Wow, so much. Okay, so I am going to, I'm gonna get up and pour you some water because I really want to get into it and I want you to be hydrated. Okay, but while I pour that drink, I want you to ponder on this question and maybe jump in when you're ready. So, wow. All of you are saying in some way that you're like building something that has either meant that you've had to like go into these spaces that aren't really designed for you and be very strategic. We want that. We're going to do this, right? You're literally building a home for people to record their sounds, record their like. Maybe all the audience also knows this. You know, sound recording equipment is expensive. Okay, right? So if you're building a home for that, right, you're gathering a lot of resources, right, for example. Okay, and then also when you're talking about being able to show up somewhere and be yourself, like that's always the intangible, right, when we're doing these things as well. Okay. There was a part in the TV episode that we watched that there was a dynamic described that I think we all have heard before. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we've all heard a version of that before. Remember this part where Shyrock and some other of the artists were talking about, you know, we were out here like doing these things. We didn't know we were supposed to get paid this much. We like got, you know, stiffed over on this contract, blah, blah. And I see that as, you know, these kind of moments where, and even I think there was one person who at the end, I really liked how she kind of gave a tool and was like, don't settle for the condensed contract, get the extended, right? You remember that thing? Yeah. Okay. And I feel like those things, we may not all be rappers, but I feel like in all of what we're doing, right, there are those kind of analogous things where we might jump in and say to someone that's coming up now, you know, don't settle for the condensed, get the extended, right? So what's the version of that in what you're doing? And I want you to tell us. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna pour y'all water. Yeah, think.
If I can jump in right away, talk about money, talk about it. Like, honestly, ask somebody you know, because in some kind of way we are we're learned to think that there's not enough, think scarce, but there's enough, there's abundance, but they made us think there's not enough, so that we fight each other for it. But for instance, if I'm at a gig and you're at a gig and you're not sure, like, people don't talk about money. How much are you getting for this gig? It's not me being in your pocket and saying, oh, you can or cannot buy this. It's about, I'm getting 400, you're getting 8? What the fuck? Why? Because if somebody told me before, like, yo, at least ask 8, I wouldn't be jumping and saying, I'm getting 300 euro. And, because in the end, people forget that you put in years. You are not getting back that time. You put you put in a lot. So I think that we should openly talk about money without checking each other's pocket. But to be honest, like, I personally, a lot, when I talk to artists or other people, I tell them this is my minimum, at least, depending on who you're working with. You have 3 different brackets. Is it non-commercial? Is it, is it a commercial company? All of those things. Tell people, because sometimes we forget to tell them because you already think it's logic, but tell them, because there are kids out here and there are people out here who deserve a lot and are going for the minimum, and we're being exploited and very happy until the point that you're here and you realize you shouldn't be happy, but then you're tired, and I'm tired of people being tired, because that's not necessary. So I think, talk about money without it being funny. Talk about money. Yeah.
Where do I start? Just to go off of exactly what you were saying. We've been in, like I said, we're celebrating now 10 years of Dutch ballroom scene. And 10 years ago, up to at least 5, no, I'll say 3, up to 3 years ago, we also had to learn to have this money conversation, because we were just happy to be invited somewhere. We were because we were like, we want to put ballroom, we want to bring ballroom everywhere. So we were happy to be in spaces, and then we started to realize, why do we keep being invited as entertainment when this is education?
Right.
And that's where more money is involved. And then we started to realize, wait, we're out here doing gigs and basically educating you for, like, it's a group of 4 or 5 of us and everybody gets 50 euros. And we're just like, why are we doing this at a certain point? And then our counterparts that are not from ballroom, that are not queer, are out here getting 3, 4, 5, 600 euros for just showing up and doing a dance and leaving.
Yeah.
And
not even doing it correctly. No shade.
No shade.
Yes, shade, but yeah.
And we're just like, no. We have to be doing something wrong. We have to just be doing something wrong. And then we kind of figured it out. No, now we figured it out for sure. And also, by being strategic, we also was we knew that it also took a lot of balls to just, have that conversation, like, oh, this is what we deserve and this is what we ask for, and no less than this. And they would gag, because they would be like, oh, but who are you to ask this type of money or whatever?
When you invited.
Yeah. So then, oh, now now, no shade, I have a workshop on Sunday and it's half an hour and I get 500 euros. Okay? Because it depends. Because for me, I'm gonna speak for me personally and for my house. We never did it for the money. It was literally to reach the people that need this. And I know exactly what ballroom did for me. So I know for a fact that it will do this to other people that need it. And but like you said, we categorize everything now. So we're like, what's commercial, what's for community, and there's a thick line in between that. so now we're like, oh, is this a festival? Is this for example, like a milkshake? Milkshake would have to pay us way more than something we would do for community. 9 out of 10 times, community is for free. And like, for example, even for me personally, like if I get asked to judge a ball abroad or whatever, often we get paid a fee, we get flight out and all of that. And I always ask, is your ball being funded or is this community service? Because if it's community service, you don't got to pay me. Like, I'll be there. You just need to fly me out and I'll be there. But if it's a festival backing your ball, honey, what's the fee? And there's a minimum. Because it's like we're out here literally stripping ourselves, and not literally, sometimes. We're literally stripping ourselves from what we know from our pains, our sacrifices, and everything. And people are looking at us just as entertainment while we are literally educating you. So now we just have to separate. We've decided that we just separate things really clearly. So there's, so then it's also not weird to have that money conversation, because then we decided, for example, Amber and Nikki, another house member, they decided to start an agency which would actually protect ballroom instead of what we did before when we did gigs for like 50 euros. And now, being the first house of the Netherlands and now being able to celebrate 10 years of ballroom, it took a lot of hard work and sacrifices for us to be able to have a thriving community now 10 years. And now we won't accept for the younger generation to do the things we did 10 years ago for 50 fucking euros. So now when you see the kids out here getting booked and everything, they're getting a fab coin. And that's because we just are like, no one is gonna, we already did the hard work. Yeah. The kids need to just get their life now.
Okay. I agree with you that it's very important to get the fab coin. I would like...
Oh, you need a mic, I think. Yeah.
Is this being recorded, by the way? Do I need to... Yeah, this I have to. Can I have a fourth mic? No? Okay, that's okay. All right. So, I just want you to be able to not have to, Okay. You keep it primarily, yeah? And I'll just grab, okay. So, and also maybe this would be a good time for you to jump in, because I feel like you also, I have a feeling that you have something to say about this. Yeah, okay. So then maybe I will ask my question for Elejandro to you, in fact, but also please jump in because I feel like you both. Okay. I agree that it's important that we get the fab coin, right? I want us to maybe articulate for the collective why, right? Because I think one of the things in my experience that's very interesting about that younger generation, coming back to the confidence piece, is in terms of the younger generations that I have seen, they know intellectually that you're supposed to get the fab coin, right? Or let's say they hear us saying it, but when we are saying it right now, we're saying it, I think, from an embodied experience of what it has felt like to essentially have our, let's say, our creative expression, which is like literally a physiological, psychological, spiritual need, right, be extracted from, right? This is the 50 pounds for some of the most amazing athletic performance of all time, right? Or like, do you know, like some of the most amazing, like eloquent rapping of all time, right? We're really like doing our thing. So we have that embodied experience of why it's necessary that you get the fab coin, right? I heard Jennifer say it's because, at a certain point, you're gonna get really tired. You're gonna get burnt out, right? If you're not getting the fab coin, right? But what else? Are there other things? How can we drive this point home, since we're in this position, right, to record this for the younger generation to listen to? You gotta go get your fab coin. Why?
Well, for me, I think the reason why is because it also, when you're getting paid for your work, you will also feel like motivated to go further. And as an artist, I think it's very important to, how do I say this in English? Like, ja, auteursrechten en zo. Like, you really need to invest in yourself to get a basic understanding of artists' rights, because there's a lot of money that many artists, also myself, it's just there, but it belongs to me, but I don't know about it. And then other people, they just take it away from you. And you know. They won't educate you on things, and I've actually learned something, you know, while I was listening to y'all. Like, for me, I'm still like in the beginning stages, and I also do sound engineering, and I've worked like with a reggae artist, and I didn't get what I was supposed to get. I didn't get what I was supposed to get, and I didn't know that. I was just happy. I was very happy. Like, okay, I have this opportunity. Yes, and then one person, the manager of that artist, he told me like, yo, you know, I see you working. We call you, you come to the studio like for hours, you're just recording us, and you know, we're just gonna pay you. So they paid me, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I get like a 200 euro, but then, you know, you have people that are like fair, but not everybody is fair. So it's very important to know your rights and just make your voice heard. And you know, you need to know your worth, because you're worth something, and nobody can tell you what you're worth. You need to tell them. You need to set the pace and set the tone. Like, yo, this is me. Take it or leave it.
So being happy to be there is not a reason to not ask for your coin. So remember, younger generation listening back to this, yes, be happy to be there. Sure, you're doing what you love, but also ask for your coin, right? Is that the message? Okay.
And
What else?
It's seriously an investment indeed. You need to buy the appliance you need for you to deliver the product, whether it be music, whether it be the shoes I need to dance, whether it be the clothes I'm wearing to feel at my best. But you invest in your craft. If you write, you invest in the pen, in the books, in the time you make. Rent is due. You need to pay rent. You need to, and it's not just about the materialistic size of money, but also for me to be able to, you know, invest that money again in my craft, to invest in a course so I can learn more about it, to invest in courses because I used to say a lot back, I just want to be an artist. I don't want to be busy with that doesn't exist anymore for me, unless you have somebody next to you, because you don't do it alone. If correct, you have at least one person that is on your team who you can look in the eye, who you can trust, and who can give you a, yo, okay, but what are we doing? Keep you sharp so that you know how you're going to invest more, because you need to know about your taxes. You don't want to do that shit because it's not sexy, but if you know it, nobody will fuck you over, because then you will know you'll be able to invest, like literally. And it's very important. It's not sexy to read a lot of shit, but being an artist, being a creative also involves a lot of reading, literally a lot of it, but it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it.
And also, like 9 out of 10 times, you're out there risking it all.
Yeah.
You know, and you're showing you've dedicated so much of your time and your life basically to study your craft, and people don't consider you as everything we're creating is art. And but we get into certain spaces where people are like, oh no, that's not really art. And then we're like, but what is it then? So it's like, just because the all the time and dedication and everything you sacrifice in order to basically master your craft, that costs a lot of money. That costs a lot of money. Like from the ballroom perspective, a lot of us had to learn things from people that came from, for example, from New York, from the Mecca where ballroom started. And in order for us to get these people to teach us something, we either need to fly them out, we need to pay for their stays, we need to either go to New York, we need, like, our ballroom journey is so intricate because this is also information that is not written anywhere. Like, there's no video. There is, like, ballroom history is, it goes from mouth to mouth, and a lot of these people before us have died, and you need to go to these specific people to get these stories and to get these classes and whatever it may be, in order to be wherever you are in your ballroom career. And that just takes so much dedication. And then at the same time, you get into a space where you're just seen as, oh, you're just a dancer, or you're just, and none of us, even when you dance ballet, you're not just a dancer. Like, this is something you basically live for. So just as much as you study to be an accountant, we study the Vogue. So pay us. And to add to that, especially when it comes to queer art in general, a lot of we have so much influence in the world. And when it comes to like music, when it comes to hip hop, when it comes to fashion, everybody takes our stuff and makes it cool. But when we do it, like they said, it ain't cool. It's ghetto, it's ratchet. For ballroom, it's too much. You're a faggot. It's just a lot. But when Madonna did it, it was cool. In the 90s, when Jenny Livingston made the film, the documentary Paris is Burning, she promised to pay all the girls you saw in the film. They all died without getting 1 cent from her. And she's still out here making millions off of Paris is Burning. So, okay. That.
I want to ask another question. So, a lot of these issues about getting paid, also what I hear and what you all are saying, I think implies kind of going into these spaces or these institutions, corporations, whatever, these entities that essentially don't have the range to acknowledge what we're doing as art, which is sad for them. Now, what would it take to, can you imagine, have you experienced, / what would it take to fill your entire year's calendar, right, with gigs which were with people who recognize the value of your art? What would that take?
Well, for me, I think what it takes for me is that I would have to really show up, because everybody loves success. I said I wanted success, but then I was scared when I saw what, like, you need to be perceived by people. People are gonna see you, and I wasn't comfortable with that up until, I'm still not really comfortable with it, but yes. But for me, I just know that it wouldn't be really hard if I just be consistent with, like, on my social media, and just, dare to be me, dare to be myself, and show what I contribute to the world. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think indeed, like, it takes indeed the work. You got to do the work, but also be in rooms like this, connect with people, your network, and really think about what do I want, how do I want it, and then dare to go for it. I think personally that, because sometimes indeed, and you're scared of your own success, so sometimes you trip yourself. So you can say, I don't know, it wasn't the time, or but that's maybe also part of the journey. But I think it would be lobbying with a lot of people, in your circle, but also reality check. I am absolutely aware of I live in the Netherlands. I live in the Netherlands. I live here, I build here. So some projects or some things you are able to do, all POC, all Black, all this, all female, and some not. So you gotta choose, where do I settle with who, for what reasons? Because I would never do a project and say it was all Black, but there were very harmful Black people also in it, because that's window dressing. We can also do that to ourselves, right? So the right people.
Where the
Yeah,
first
yeah, yeah.
documentary comes out of, right, is trying to address that. How did we get here? We had this beautiful thing. It was called hip hop. We were
Yeah.
supposed to save everybody, but then all the Black women got harmed. How did we get here?
Right.
Right. That's what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's really being fair with who do you want to work with, where do you settle, and know that, be honest about that, and if you fall, dare to acknowledge that, bounce back, get you the right people to bounce back with, and then keep going.
Y'all need an airline. That's what I see for the future.
I think speaking from the ballroom perspective, like it would take, mind you, I maybe I can toot our own horn as a community that we're doing a lot of things, and not just, I'm not just talking about Dutch ballroom scene. I'm just talking about ballroom worldwide. Like we're doing a lot of things. Is it the right people doing it all the time? No, maar dat terzijde. But what would it take? Like, it would first take a lot of genuine interest in the culture. A lot of people are just so into voguing right now.
What does genuine interest in the culture look like?
So people that want to dig into the culture. Institutions, organizations that want to dig into the culture and not see us as entertainment.
But I could dig in. I mean, like I could dig in as a problematic viewer, right? So what do you mean? Do you mean invest? Do you mean like dig in, like record history? Do you mean give money? What is dig in?
It's all of the things. Okay. To make an example, we now just opened an expo with Amsterdam Museum. And it was a rough ride until opening, which was last Friday, only because they thought, and this is how everyone comes into ballroom, this is where it's not always genuine interest, they thought, oh, we're going to invite a house to take over this historical house, which is a museum, and it's going to be an extravaganza, and that's it. And then we started to pitch shit at them. And then they started gagging because they thought that it was Ava dit. Ava just was doing Ava. We just ask you to do this. They're going to be so happy to be taking over this space. It's a museum. Ballroom never been in this space. They're not necessarily artists, but we're going to, put them in that light. And then we get in and we start to literally turn shit out. And then they're like, oh, but we have our museum language. Oh, but we are used to doing things this way, or we have to do things this way. And we're just like, nope, you invited us. And that's where the genuine interest lacks, because they only thought about this, the surface. But we get in there and we get comfortable. And we're like, so we want to do this, and this is how we do it, and this is how we want to say it. When it comes to text, they're like, oh, we can just say this. And we're like, nope, we're not saying it like that. Everyone else, they're accustomed of everyone saying, yes, we can agree to that. And we're just like, no. And they're like, why? Because you invited us. You wanna, is this did you invite us as the artists, or are y'all curating ballroom? Because what is it gonna be? If we're gonna do it as the artist, we're gonna do it our way. And we're super particular about how we do things in ballroom, because first of all, ballroom needs to be proud of it. Then the world can enjoy it. So if we have, and not bashing them now, it turned out really great, because now they're sitting here in this institution that has, I don't know how many years of working like this. Now they're like, oh, we have an expo with, we have so where they store all their historical items, like a bunker. Oh, we have a bunker. Oh, maybe we are gonna change how we sort things, because now everything is sorted male and female. Now now that we are there and we opened up a whole nother box, they're like, oh, so maybe we're gonna change how we categorize everything. So where's our money for that part?
That's what I was going to ask you.
So
where's your money for that part? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just way deeper, and that's what the world just sees ballroom or queer art in general, and just thinks, oh, it's really nice and we just want it, and ta-da. But if you really dig deep, you'll understand why we do what we do and why we're so particular. Because we're really trying to protect something that everyone just literally grabs and just runs with it.
Okay.
And you're able to do that because you know your craft. That's why you got to know your craft, because then you know your word. And then you can say no. Then you can say yes, because know your craft.
I think it's really important what you said about how it has to meet the ballroom standard, and then everyone else is secondary. Everyone else's standards is secondary to that. I think that's really important. And it sounds like to me how I'm understanding like genuine interest, right, is that these places with resources that are going to invite you have to be ready to basically re-examine every aspect of what they think is their kind of standard practice, let's say, if they're going to claim to be stepping outside the box to
They need to be
invite
ready
you.
to get uncomfortable, and a lot of them aren't.
Right, exactly. Which I think controversially is because their perception of us as being out of the box is already the issue, but that's another talk. We don't have enough time for that. Yes, that's okay. Like time or like 1 minute? 5 minutes?
45 minutes.
Do we have any do we have time and capacity for any comments or questions from the from everyone watching here today? Yeah? We can bring the mic to you maybe. Anyone? No, we can't. That's okay. Does anyone want to say something? I can't bring you the mic, but I'll repeat your question so the recorder gets it. Tell us. How would the hip hop scene be safe for a woman? How could we make the hip hop scene safe for a women artists? Mike, great.
Well, so I think how it could be more safer is accountability. Like, there's not really, like, as they said, there's not really any accountability from, if a guy does something, it's easily shrugged under the rug, but when a girl does something, it's like, well, it's like the end of the world. It's like, you know, like you're a witch or something. And also one thing, I think it's very important that people like me, that I start my own community where in the future, I want to help more female artists to record their sound, because I know there are a lot of predatory producers and everything. And I think it's important that there are more female, just also, like, it's not only the music, it's also business. So in the business, there needs to be like more females that really like have the best interest, you know, for other ladies. I also work with men, but it's different for them because they already have the respect. It don't matter if they're a gangster or not. Even if they're lying, they already have the respect. But for me, sometimes when I share my stories, they think like, is it really true? Like, are you really living that life? When I'm just like, you know, being myself. But hey.
So any ladies who like math, we need you in the music business on the business side. There we go. Okay. Is it time? Yeah. Yeah? Okay. Any other questions? Rare opportunity. Tell us. Okay, so for the recorder, the question is, essentially how does it resonate with you, the way that hip hop can be a liberatory force and a safe space and also a site of harm, right? As was discussed in the first film. And is that basically, does that sum it up? Yeah.
I think if I got it correct, okay, like first thing that comes to mind, sometimes we need to remind people because they tend to forget that when we talk about hip hop, people automatically go to rap. Oh yeah, rap, music, male dominated, what's up, grills. And that's not hip hop. They don't see it as a lifestyle. They don't see it as the, each one teach one that is also in it, the education that's also, the community that is in it. And within that community, I think that's important because that's where I also move in a lot. Like for instance, Hiphophuis here in Rotterdam. The if you come there and if you get to be there at events, at lessons, the community that is there is something you cannot deny, and that is also hip hop because there are literally like lessons and values being taught, how we treat each other, how you treat yourself, how you carry yourself, and that's something that I always try to bring with me, and that's something that I very, very much value because that I also have that absolute love-hate relationship with the harmful side of some people, always thinking about hip hop and thinking about it being violent. It is so educational. If you want to see that, you will know that there's more, and it's growing. It's only 50 years. 50 is the new what? Whatever you want to put to it. But there's so much more. And I think also that if you're in conversation with somebody and you see that that's where they tend to go, oh yeah, it's only this, you check them and you keep it moving because am I supposed to waste this time with you, yes or no? Are you worth the time we're going to spend arguing and convincing you about something that you have no knowledge of at all and that you want to keep as a stereotype? Because I know I'm not that stereotype. So, yeah, I think that for now.
You out here rapping, tell us.
It's like it's so wide, like it can go so wide. I have a lot to say, but at the same time, it's the same thing. I think just everything, it has to do with respect. There needs to just be, everything. It starts from home. So I think people, they just need to get like lessons of just decency. If you're just decent and you have like, strict rules, you just treat somebody how you want to be treated. You don't, it doesn't even have to do with like only hip hop. It's in everyday life. It starts from when you wake up and you choose to say good morning to somebody on the street who's passing you. It's just basic decency. If we just care about each other, we will have more respect and a more peaceful environment for everybody in the room. That's what I think.
Are you saying that hip hop is as harmful as the society that it's growing up in?
I'm saying like it's nice when you look at it, but like when you're just busy building or working towards something, it could get pretty. It's just a lion's den. That's what I'm. It's a lion's den to me. It's a lion's den. It's like eat or be eaten, and I don't really choose to be like I'm not prey, but at the same time, I also don't like preying on other people. But sometimes I get a feeling that I really have to be like like an eagle and eat everybody up, and then. But that's not, Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I kind of even forgot the question, but
The question is, how does it resonate with you, this idea that hip hop can be both a liberatory force and a site of harm? I think what's particularly interesting in this question for the ballroom scene is a lot of these kind of sites of harm that we are learning about now in this day and age, I imagine would be very different were it not so required that these like hip hop moguls kind of perform as straight when many of them are not. Thoughts?
That's a word. That is a word. Oy, do you want to talk about that?
I mean, we got 2 minutes.
Word. That. It still literally gags me when I'm just like, when are these niggas gonna come out? like when stop doing these things to these women, because it clearly translates that you got a problem with yourself. And like we come out. Like, you need to make room for clothes. Like, get out. But it's just that's just so layered. But personally,
I guess, do you have like a I want to, because like we're really going in the deep end now, so I want to like give you something to hold on. Do you have do you have because I think in Nolika's question I hear Nolika holding a sense of frustration at the harm, but also it's not empathy, but you kind of understand the full range of how the harmful person. Okay. Yeah. 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 Mm. How are you? How are you holding the ability to be in community in alongside of all the things that need to be addressed, basically? Yeah.
I mean, it's hard, especially as being not a stereo, and I'm talking from the hip hop perspective, not being stereotypically the gay man, which to them has a certain look, has an attitude, has gestures, has all of these things. I feel like hip hop is now treating, just the music industry in general is treating queer artists as like trophies, and just like for example, I don't it's not that I dislike him, because I think he's great, but I see it in Lil Nas. Like, he's literally this and put right here, and it's like, do what you got to do. And that, in my opinion, is not a safe place to be in, because this is actually also where they put these women. And it just comes with like it just comes with just so much, just to say it's simple, so much bad things. And putting out the wrong is, you're lying to these people and you're making them do the most, and then at the end of the day it's like, it's just these people at the top are just sitting back and watching you just
Very unprotected,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
and pretend to be giving you all of this, and not money, of course, but giving you all of this
Visibility.
visibility, and we're gonna be inclusive, and we're gonna be diverse, and it's literally just words that come out their mouth, and it's just like, it's a lot. Like, if I look at someone as Saucy Santana, then I'm like, I listened to this podcast where they were talking about someone is trying to put a hit on him, somebody and I'm just like, when are we gonna come to a point where like everyone can just be great and just not have this this sticker stuck on you like, oh, this is because he's this, or this is because she's that, or they are this. And just that, yeah, I don't think it's just not safe. It's just not safe at all. And for me that grew up also in hip hop, and I saw hip hop from a whole other perspective, which is from a little island in the Caribbean, and you see everything on TV and you think it's all amazing. Um, growing up with that, like I never saw myself. I never saw no one that represented who I was or who I thought I wanted to. I mean, like I wanted to be like Missy, but but it wasn't given that. And then look at Missy. Missy got her flowers now, and to me, Missy is one of the greatest artists that ever lived. Like the reason why I dance is because of Missy. That's the first videos I ever saw that I was like, nah, I want to dance in that video, or I want to do these dances. And um, the Brat just came out, and it's a thing. And I'm like, y'all didn't see Brat was family like then? Why is it now? Why does she need to come out? Why is it now a thing? Why are you now making it like she was cool before she came out? And now that she's out, it's like, yeah, the Brat. And it's just like, yeah, it's just everything just becomes a thing, and it just makes it super unsafe because everyone is basically laughing in your face and pretending, oh yes, there's a place for you, but there's really not.
Still a lot of deconstruction that needs to be done. I mean, these are things that are like for years, so masculine energy and power. People are afraid to lose something, so they will do anything to keep that. But the deconstruction has to be done on so many levels. And if you think that a coming out, which is a surface level thing, will save it, then that's wrong, because not everybody is able to come out. But at the same time, I do realize that some people need to see themselves indeed to recognize. But there's lots of layers of deconstruction systematically that needs to be done. And it's within conversations, it is within visibility, it's educational, a lot of things we need to, in language, we need to do different in all these things. And unless people start accepting that, first of all, because then there's room for the fluidity and all of that. But there's a long way to go, but that doesn't mean that I don't believe in that way, but it's a long way to go. But it starts with, I think now, generations are talking to each other. I can ask my mom, for instance, or her age group, things that, first of all, would be considered very rude. And now she'll be like, but yeah, answer. And I think there also, because now we're exchanging info on a different level. We want to hear each other. We want to see each other. Even if I don't agree with you, I'm willing to sit and listen. It's a whole different conversation than I'm not going to listen because I don't agree. And that, if we do those things, and if we keep doing those things, then I think we'll get there. I hope we'll get there. I hope we'll get there.
Thank you. Long way to go, so get your fees. Okay. Thank you, Nolika, for bringing us all here together. Thank you to the Black Soul Film Festival for having us.
Thank you.
And you have any music? Anybody got any music coming out or gigs coming up you want to plug?
Well,
Yes, get it.
I do have a song coming out, but it's in 2 weeks. But follow me on Instagram, Crystal Chanay, or check me out, even if it's once, or on Spotify. I also have a 101 bars item.
Do you have Bandcamp?
No.
How can we listen to you to where you get the money from the streams?
Spotify.
Spotify.
You get money from
Yes.
Spotify.
Crystal Chanay. That's it.
Yeah, there's so much going on in ballroom.
What's next?
But in the
Just what's the
Netherlands.
next thing?
Okay, right now our exposition is open at the Willet Holthuizen Historical House in Amsterdam. Sorry, I don't know if I pronounced that right. The expo will be open for 6 months, just open last Friday, and it's also a growing exposition. So what it is now, it's not going to stay like that for the 6 months, but we made it into. Our concept was to have this conversation and to dismantle all of these things, especially of us being in these spaces and not being considered as artists. So this is a growing exposition. So during the 6 months, we're gonna have a lot of talks, workshops, and just a lot of educational stuff on queerness in general, also ballroom, and the expo is gonna be growing. We're gonna keep adding stuff to it, removing, and just making it a conversation.
Okay, that's good. House of Vineyard.
House of Vineyard
Nice,
on
we'll be seeing you
Instagram.
next 6 months.
Yes, next 6 months,
Jennifer.
be there.
Vacation, and in January I'll be starting
deep
again.
rest.
Yeah, rest, chilling, I'm doing theater right now. So if there are people out there who are like making movies or arts, or you want to try stuff, holler at me so we can see if it works. If it doesn't, I don't know. But if it does, yeah, I'm always willing to have conversations to see where we can do stuff. I love the stage, but I'm now, a lot of people have been telling me for years, you need to go to the camera. I was like, no, I want to be live. But now I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm camera ready. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Oh,
I'm ready.
Jennifer's
That's what I'm
camera
doing.
ready. Okay. Good night.